Why?
Because it's not a good game. I'll just play Fall Guys if I have the itch.
But Charlie, don't you want to put 100 hours into a game you're not even having fun with just to
what the
for
fuck?
the
I
experience?
don't understand.
If I
Yeah,
put 100
get the
hours into
achievements.
Stumble Guys, I would actually feel much better about it than Jackson getting achievements.
I don't think so.
I would actively
I
be getting
feel
better at the game. I
good.
would keep winning. I would literally never lose.
What? I was getting better at the game. It just doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, it's just you get better at a single player. You get better at killing NPCs that barely
Okay,
fight
not back
back.
to this. Andrew, you had a topic about a crypto game console.
Oh, right.
Polium,
Yeah,
yeah.
I wanted to talk about this last week, and then we never had time. So let me find the name of it. I posted it a while ago.
Wait, we had plenty of time last week. We weren't on a time crunch. We just ended the episode.
Well, no,
What do you mean?
that's what I mean. We
It's
didn't.
called the
We didn't get to it.
Polium
The Polium
1.
1. Yeah, the Polium
Oh,
1. So
yeah.
the Polium 1 is an NFT game console. And there's a lot of goofy shit around this that you can laugh at, such as their original logo is a complete ripoff of the GameCube logo. And if you go to their Discord, they clearly have no idea what they're doing, and they're like, "Oh, we'll use this architecture, and it'll be Linux, and then we'll use this one as well." That's like not. And people who actually design games are like, "Well, you can't use both. Which one are you using?" And they're like, we'll do both. We'll figure it out." But my favorite thing about this whole thing that I love is the controller in the proposed design has a dedicated wallet button. So
Yeah, baby.
while you're gaming, you can pull up your crypto wallet and check out your investments.
The controller, by the way, looks like a complete cheap piece of shit.
Can you imagine playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey 100% for the achievements, and while you're playing, the game says press wallet to jump?
That would have been really
peak
useful for
gaming.
Jackson. I remember in your last Assassin's Creed game, you paid for a boost, and you had to pay for it 3 times or something, and you never got it.
yeah.
Cringe.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
fuck.
painful.
How
So-
embarrassing,
I did
Jackson.
get that refunded though.
So their rationale for this is the wallet button is to quickly pay for microtransactions using crypto and like all that shit. But what a fucking dystopia for gaming, where one of the dedicated buttons on the controller is a spend money button. It's so fucked.
Oh man. I mean, it's an NFT crypto product, Web
yeah.
3.0, whatever the hell it's called. So that makes sense. Yeah, man, it's just a giant wallet button directly in the middle.
It's so funny.
So fucking dumb.
was
I want to
pretty
go.
hype.
So I'm on their website currently, Polium.com. Shout out, I guess. One of their selling points is that it's a multilingual console. The console will run games that are built with, and then it's got a whole bunch of just like programming languages listed below it, like JavaScript, Python, C++, C#. Isn't that just? That's like not up to them. It's just like a
does that
normal.
matter?
Yeah,
What-
people.
Yeah, that's just a
why
normal
should I,
thing.
as a consumer, give a shit what programming language you use?
Yeah, people
Yeah,
don't
what the
fucking program games like that with that intention. They program a game for the system. Like, it doesn't matter what language it's in. So stupid.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
says the console, which Polium says will be released in 2024, will only be available to pre-ordered players who buy a Polium pass. So
Oh man, I love this fucking thing.
a Polium pass.
God, NFT fucking brand names are so. They're like a category of their own. So it's got another little section on the website that says it's a multi-chain console. You can play games that are built on, and I assume these are NFT platforms or something. It's like Immutable X, Solana, Wax, and then like there's Polygon. That's a pretty normal one. But they're all just so fucking generic. You always know what an NFT brand is by the name.
And none of them matter. None of this matters to me. Even if it is, okay, so I can play on whatever the fuck, Solana, which is a crypto chain, I think. What do I give a shit? Why would I want that in my Worms Armageddon game?
Well, you won't
games
be
can I
playing
play?
Worms on this machine.
Well, they can't
Yeah.
even answer that. I remember on Twitter, someone asked them what games are going to be on this, and they said Web3 games, and he said, yeah, but what titles? And they said, the games that are designed for Web3.
Yeah, and if you
I
go
saw
to their
that too.
website and it says what games are available on launch, it says, we'll put a list in the Discord. I'm like, yeah, that's promising.
Their most recent tweet is, while the world is laughing at us, we are happy building. Happy Mondays to those who are building for Web 3. We can't wait to show you all the prototype. How beautiful.
This
They're
goes
hard at work,
nowhere,
baby.
then.
Oh, they changed the
I
logo
was gonna
ever since people made fun of them.
So the logo used to look like the what was it? The
GameCube.
logo. Yeah, it was like 1-to-1.
So they have a new
It's just
logo,
flipped upside
Jackson.
down.
So the old logo used to look just like the GameCube logo flipped. Like literally just turned 180 degrees. But now they have a new logo, and it's the GameCube logo with an extra rectangle on the side.
Holy fuck! How did they do that?
Sweet.
That's massive. And oh man, the specs in this machine. I mean, they don't have the specs anywhere, but they're promising 4K Ultra HD ray tracing up to 120 frames per second.
No,
Man,
it was
I can't
worse.
wait
They
to
were
hit
promising
those.
8K at 120 frames per second out of this teeny tiny thing that, by the way, is like the size of
Yeah,
I don't
of
know,
the
of-
controller.
I know.
yeah, the size of the controller. Which is a shame. I really would like some third-party indie game consoles. Do you guys remember the Ouya?
Yeah,
I was
don't we
hoping you were
all?
going to bring that up.
I used it as an ice tray for a while.
Yeah.
Wait, you actually had one?
Yeah, I bought one, and then I used it as an ice tray for a little bit.
What do
That
you
was
mean by
sad
ice tray?
because, like, the idea of it. Okay, Linux.
Like I opened it up,
games-
and it was just like a giant ice tray. So I'd pour water into the crevices and put it in the freezer to make ice.
It's pretty good.
Well, you can do that with the Polium too.
I mean, even when you ran the Ouya, it was just like a fucking phone, right? Like it would just run mobile tier games.
Yeah, I think it. Did it even have a graphics card? I don't remember. I think it had like an off-brand, offshoot, like NVIDIA
Wasn't it running off a
graphics
Raspberry
card
Pi?
for. I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a fucking disaster, and no one ever used it. But the idea was fine because, and some games did run on it, like Towerfall or whatever that game was. I think they really wanted the thing to succeed, but it never did, unfortunately. And now, just third-party consoles have become a fucking meme.
God. So
I
stupid.
mean, it's not. Consoles are currently smaller. Well, the Xbox is currently smaller than like PCs and stuff, so I don't really have a size issue with consoles. I don't think they really need to get that much smaller. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, the size isn't the issue, and Linux can be used. We've seen this now with the Steam Deck, right? It is possible, so take the fucking crypto
mean-
shit out of it and try again. Like, why are you doing this?
Realistically, a small studio is never going to compete with a big company for consoles because you got to remember the big companies have
Yeah.
all the resources and all the money, and they sell them at a loss.
Fucking Microsoft.
Well, yeah, they sell them at a loss. Like, you don't make money selling the console, you get it back on the deals with the games for it. So, how the fuck are you,
marketplaces.
random fucking schlub at a tiny startup, gonna be like, yeah, my console's gonna be cheaper than a PlayStation 5 and run just as well? It's like, that's not gonna happen. You're not gonna make any
Yeah,
money.
how are
Yeah,
you gonna?
so
How
you
are
take
you gonna
their
build a
Ethereum.
machine that small? How are you gonna build a machine that small that can output 4K Ultra HD ray tracing graphics at 120 frames per second without like winning the Nobel
Through the
Peace Prize in
power
the
of
process? 'Cause
crypto,
it's
Jackson.
impossible.
Come
Yeah,
on.
you don't get
yeah.
Web3 and it
Yeah.
shows, Jackson. You don't understand the power of the blockchain.
I'll bet you saw the wallet button and you laughed, you fucking simpleton.
Yeah, you just don't
It's
see
the weirdest thing,
vision.
too, that, like, these crypto bros are trying to pass off crypto as this performance thing. Like, bro, crypto payments take, like, half a fucking hour
Yep.
to register on the goddamn system. Like, this is... It's snail speed.
That's the
This sucks.
irony of cryptocurrency. It is a terrible currency. Cryptocurrencies are stocks. They're not currencies. They're terrible at acting as money because they're slow as fuck and they're expensive to use.
Well, I think what really holds them back is the outrageous gas prices.
That too.
You,
Yeah, they're
you pay
expensive to
more in
use.
fucking gas prices than you do for whatever you're using the crypto for.
That's what I said. They're expensive to use.
Yeah.
That's the irony of it. Like crypto can work as a stock and a way to move money, but as a currency, they are trash. They don't do that job at all. They're slow. They're expensive. They're resource intensive. It just sucks. Like they will probably never be adopted as actual currency.
I will always remember this video of there was some country that was trying to use crypto and a guy was trying to buy a beer and it was an automated like dispensary for the beer and he was trying to pay for it and it took 5 minutes. He was just standing in front of this fucking vending machine waiting for his beer.
Have you ever been to a restaurant where they have those little signs around that says we take crypto, we accept Bitcoin? You ever seen those?
No.
I've been to a couple of those in Orlando. There's like bigger restaurants that are like, yeah, we accept Bitcoin, we accept crypto. I have never once remotely seen anyone pay with Bitcoin or even ask about it or any of that shit.
Yeah, you'd have to be a fucking idiot to do that.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, again, I use it sometimes for like shady looking websites where I don't want these people to have my payment information. I don't want them to have my PayPal like email address and shit. So, okay, whatever. I'll pay with Bitcoin. That's fine. But it's a shitty currency.
It is
It's so slow. I could not possibly imagine gaming on this fucking piece of shit.
There's a reason that with crypto, everyone, when they want to use it, cashes it out into their local currency. Like,
Yeah, you convert it.
yeah, people
Like you
don't
said,
use it
stocks.
as a daily currency. There's not a single human
Yeah,
on the
it's
planet
stock.
right now who's like, I only have Bitcoin as my money. Or no one. They always convert it.
Well, John McAfee maybe, but now he's dead. So.
Yeah. look what it got him.
Assassinated. But that was the promise of crypto. Like, it was meant to replace currency in general, right? Eventually.
Well,
That's what the
yeah, it
whole
was
goal
supposed to
was.
be like a world currency where you didn't have to rely on central banks or countries or any of that shit, but
yeah, and
they didn't
the
inflate
idea
it
of
out
it
of
is
control.
good. It is, yes, I would like to, like, bankers should be fucking gutted in the streets and bled into the gutters. Fuck them. But
Yeah.
this isn't working. This
Well-
is
well,
a
yeah,
very
imagine-
bad alternative.
Imagine Bitcoin was like an actual currency. Would you live in an economy where a car was the same value as $1? It doesn't make any sense. It's not a functional
But
unit
then I
of
get to
currency.
buy a car for $1?
So think about it. A Bitcoin at one point was worth $60,000, right? If you made
Yeah.
Bitcoin a currency, a real tender currency, that means that you could basically have a car that you could buy for $1. You could go to a dealership and go, "Oh, this car's $55,000. Here's my $1. I'll take that car." So is that a functional economy? It's not. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it just doesn't make sense for you to lose like 90% of your value overnight or your net worth.
That
you know?
too,
It's
yeah.
like the coins in John Wick. Like that always fucking bothered me in those movies because even though I love them, but it's like, okay, so you can pay 1 coin for a drink at a bar and also to have someone clean up corpses. It's like these two don't seem equally valuable. You know, you can buy like a private jet for 2 coins and also buy a drink. With the same amounts, this seems weird.
Wait, so Andrew, what with the whole Bitcoin to a car comparison or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't really understand your point. Like,
Okay, Jackson.
don't you just use fragments of bitcoins if like the
Right.
value is different?
Right, but it doesn't make functional sense in an economy. If you have $1, you have a relative value and understanding of what that dollar is worth. Now, with inflation, it changes, but not to a radical, drastic degree. You're never going to buy anything with 0.0001% of $1. And
But people do in other countries, right? Because they have different
yeah, and their
currencies that
economies are shit.
more or less powerful.
and they have terrible economies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a reason in Zimbabwe they buy things with like trillions of dollars, and in South American countries they weigh the money instead of assigning it a value.
That is always so wild to me. Zimbabwe's currency is like in the actual trillions
Isn't it?
for like a cup of coffee or something. It is so crazy.
How do you do math to add
We
up
used
like
to.
groceries?
Exactly. That's
You
the
really
problem.
don't. I feel like there's like actually no basis for it. They're just like, here's a $50 trillion bill.
Okay,
Please.
I can tell you
Another-
guys because I grew up in a country like that. Turkey used to have 6 zeros on every currency. We used to pay in millions
Really?
for like
Wow.
yeah. So Turkish bread, if for instance, what you would think is $2 would be like 2 million liras. And then Erdogan came in, and I think 10 or so years ago he got rid of all the zeros. But yeah, it was interesting. But
The unzeroing, he can do that. He just removed the zeros.
the great unzeroing. Yeah, he snapped his fingers like Thanos. But you just ignore it. You mentally just ignore the zeros. That's how you live.
Another
Oh, that's
fun
so
one.
dumb. Why even put them there then?
Another fun one I learned about recently that does a similar thing like Zimbabwe and all those weird things is in Venezuela and other South American countries. Their economy is so fucked that they don't assign value to the money; they weigh it. So you go, oh, I need a gallon of gas. Here's 4 pounds of dollars. They literally just put it on scales because it's so worthless.
That does make tangible. Yeah, like if there's no value in the currency, then you have to assign some way of receiving value from it. So
I mean,
that does make sense.
All money is just something we assign value to. You know, a dollar inherently in terms of materials is like how much of cotton and ink and et cetera, but we say, hey, it's worth $1. You know, this bill, like if you take a $50 bill and a $1 bill, they're the same materials, and materials worth, they're the same exact value. But this one's worth $50 and this one's worth $1 because we say it is. So, yeah.
And if you can convince enough people otherwise, then now that $50 might be worth something else.
Exactly. I mean, economies are just...
like one Bitcoin.
I mean, economy is all just what we agree on, you know? If every single human being on the planet agreed that all currency is worthless, then it's worthless. Like, that's all there is to it.
We should do that.
It'd be fucking
Yeah,
cool.
what a prank.
How bad does... Sorry.
Well, this is off topic. If you want to stay on topic, you go.
I was just going to ask, like, how bad does an economy have to get before we just, like, strip away all currency and go back to, like, trading bread for, like, other things?
Probably
bartering.
probably
Bartering.
probably apocalypse. Like,
Yeah.
You think?
it's too ingrained in
Is there
society.
no country that does that currently?
Well, keep in mind, we've been having economies since fucking, like, prehistory. We would trade. It wasn't like...
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, though. I'm kind of saying, like, how bad would it have to be before we get back to it? Yeah.
When you're talking about only works in like small communes, and even then it usually turns into a fucking cult where the leader fucks everyone's wife.
Economies are also how you
I don't want
achieve
that.
are also how you achieve modern industry, because, like, take for example a blockbuster movie. It's going to be extremely difficult to get a blockbuster movie made by going to all the staff and saying, I'm going to give you like a whole bunch of pie and a cow and